last time. I remember I did start the recording a little too late. But we have now started the recording. We are at 28 participants. Thank you all for joining very, very quickly. Today's Zoom call is going to be just like all of the other Zoom calls that we've done. However, we were hosting that Black Friday sale to this week, and therefore we've had loads and loads of people join. For those new people, the way this Zoom call will work is I'll start off with breaking down pairs that I have sent to the group chat. So if I just show us right here and I go on to Discord, you guys will see that on Discord, I have sent loads and loads of pairs out right here. As you can see, I'll be breaking all of these pairs down, and then I'll move on to questions that you guys want. So if you want specific pairs broken down, if you guys want have any trading related questions in general, then I'll go through them at that point. I hope that helps out, guys. I'm now going to begin. I'm going to go through things as quickly as I can in terms of these charts right here, so that I can leave as much time as possible for questions at the end. As always, this call is recorded. So if you are in a rush or something like that and you are having to sacrifice something to get here, don't worry, this is recorded. So you will get to see this at some point. But yeah, now that I've gone all of that out of the way, I'm going to get straight into it and start off by breaking down this setup right here. Does everyone see this on Discord? Let me look at chat. Can you guys all see this on Discord? Can you guys see my Discord screen? Not seeing anything in chat so far.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, it's clear.
I thank you. Those two that said yes. But I'm gonna start off with the first setup that I sent out, which was on GBP NZD. So GBP NZD is a setup that I'm looking to sell next week. If I just show us the other chart, the chart that I actually broke down. As you can see, I think it was on the 12-hour, right? 12-hour. There we go. On the 12-hour time frame, you can see that GBP/NZD has just now tapped into a lovely 12-hour area of supply. As the market was coming into that area of supply, we see that the market is starting to distribute a little bit. We have our preliminary supply that forms, I think, as the Asia high form. So we have that Asia high form and then that liquidity be taken. So that was our preliminary supply. Then we had our bias climax in this market where the market starts to fully slow down. We have our first real retracement in this market that breaks minor structure on the lower time frames. I'm just going to mute everyone. Give me a second. But as I was saying, so this is our bias climax. We then have that automatic rally, which is that retracement, indicating the market moving to the sellers taking control of this market. Then we have our secondary test that again accumulates liquidity at that area of bias climax. We have that UT that takes out, that UT stands for upthrust. That UT will take out all liquidity existing above the bias climax and secondary test, trigger all new buyers into this market, which will then give smart money their first opportunity to sell. If you don't know what I mean by that, just let me know and I will get that sorted out for you guys and I'll explain that. But for those of you that do understand, this is our area of liquidity. You have that liquidity be taken in the form of this upthrust. Then the market retraces a little bit and gives us our next push to the upside in the form of our UTAD. Our UTAD is then where we have our official tap into our 12-hour area that I was telling you guys about at the start. So this is our 12-hour area. That 12-hour area only taps at that UTAD, which is a good sign when we're seeing Wyckoff distribution schematics. I'm now expecting, hopefully, when market opens, for the market to break below this low right here. And then when we have that happen, I'm expecting for the market to give us some sort of entry. At the moment, there's no real entry just because of loads of wicks. So these ugly wicks have kind of ruined any sort of order block that we may have had. However, I'm hoping for when the market breaks, it leaves behind some sort of order block maybe here, where then we can get a last point of supply entry. So that's how I'm going to be looking at GBP/NZD. In terms of trend, you can see that on our daily time frame, we are forming lower lows and lower highs. So we are pro trend in this. In terms of take profits for ourselves, we have huge targets on this. I'm looking to target areas of equal lows all the way down here. So this is our first tap, and then this is our second tap. So this right here would be the area of equal lows that I would target for sales opened inside of this Wyckoff distribution schematic right here on GBP/NZD. If you have any questions about that, I will answer all of them at the end of this little section where I'm breaking down pairs. Moving on now to the second setup in the group chat that was sent out on GBP USD. GBP USD is a setup that I'm again looking to sell. However, before I get into that, just a quick word on the news that we've had come out recently. So you guys may have heard of the new virus variant that has come out. I'm not sure of the name. I think it's Omicron or something like that. That is apparently the most deadly variant thus far. That is 100% going to have an effect on the market, and it will probably mean that Monday is going to be a very, very volatile day in the market. I did send this out, this little announcement as well, into the announcement section of the group chat. But if you didn't get that, I'm going to say it again. Monday is going to have a lot of volume in the market in general. And we did already have reaction on Friday. So if I look at US 30, you'll see that we had a massive sell-off, and the US 30 dropped by about 3% on 3.75% on Friday. I do think that we will have continued effects on Monday and Tuesday and in this week as a whole. My logic with this is, since it's going to happen on all pairs and Forex pairs are paired against each other, the net effect will be zero, and it will just cause for us to have increased volatility. And increased volatility as a whole is always going to be a good thing for us. A trader loves increased volatility. Therefore, I wouldn't stress out too much over it. If you are worried that it may ruin a couple of setups, the only bad thing that may happen is that we may have areas of equal highs and equal lows that we are looking at be taken out prematurely. So we may have, say, for example, we have an area of equal highs in this market, and we're looking to buy up to our that area, and this is our entry. The market may not tap us and may just push upwards straight away and take out those areas of equal highs prematurely before us getting our tap, which is a bad thing. However, the net effect is zero, just because it's going to be happening on every single pair. So that's what I'm looking at on with that news. But now that I've got that out of the way, I'm going to move on now to GBP USD. So GBP USD is a pair that has been clearly bearish for a while now. It's not showing any sort of it's although our external trend. So you guys may have watched that video that I've talked about where I talk about the external and internal trend. You can see our external trend is bullish. So we can see there's the lowest low in our market. Then we're just forming high highs ever since that low, which formed in March 2020. However, in terms of our internal structure, you can see very clearly we are bearish. So I am going to continue I'm going to continue to trade alongside that bearish internal structure until the market gives me some sort of reaction from an order block, maybe here, where then I can start to long this market and continue that external trend in this market. But for the time being, I am going to look to short this market and continue respecting that internal structure of bearishness. The entries that I am looking at are this right here. So you'll see that we have this lovely consolidated area right here. So you can see that we have 4 candles inside of this area. I'm looking for hopefully the market to push upwards to that area, where then I'm going to look to short. In terms of take profits of that short, there is nothing clear. But if the market forms equal lows on the way upwards, then of course I would look to target those equal lows. For this entry right here, I am going to wait for lower time frame confirmation, just because the stop loss on that is a bit big. It's about 30 pips. The rule is, if the stop loss is 30 pips or bigger, then I will 100% look for lower time frame confirmation. This right here, just because it's on the line, it's 30 pips. I'm going to just wait for lower time frame confirmation. What I mean by that, for the new members, is I'm going to wait for the market to tap inside of my area, perhaps then give me a Wyckoff distribution schematic, or give me an order block inside that area that's left behind, where then it can tap into and give me a nice refined entry with a small stop loss that I can then enter from. So that's what I mean by lower time frame confirmed entry. So that's what I'm looking at on GBP USD. Moving on now to GBP AUD. GBP AUD, if I just go on to it really quick, is a setup that I am looking to buy. Where I'm looking to take this market is all the way up here. As you can see, you'll notice that the market has formed this massive area of equal highs. This is the area of liquidity that I am hoping for the market to at some point get to. I'm hoping that the market will first come down, tap this area here. The reason I'm interested in this area is it is discounted, number one. So if you draw in your fib, I'm just going to need to update that fib. If you draw in your fib from that high to that low, it's just below the 0.79 of the fib. So it is discounted. It did break out of an area of consolidation, as you can see, and it did take liquidity. So this right here is a lovely price cycle trade, and also a discounted order block. So this is the area that I'm interested on GBP/AUD. Again, similarly to the last setup on GBP/USD, I'm going to wait for lower time frame confirmation, because as you can see, that stop loss is about 45 pips, which is a bit too big for my liking. And therefore, I would wait for lower time frame confirmation when the market taps inside of that area. I've gotten a question from Serhat who says, what does discounted mean? Discounted is basically where so I'm gonna talk about this in layman's terms. So if you go to a shop and you have something that's discounted and expensive, you're gonna want to buy something when it's discounted. Discounted in terms of when you're trading just means that if you're looking to buy, price is fairly low, and if you're looking to sell, price is very high. And if you think about it logically, if you're looking to buy and price is all the way down here, well, then that means it has more space to move upwards, right? And therefore, and similarly, vice versa, if you're looking to sell and it's very high in the market, you have more space for it to move downwards. Therefore, it's just a cheap price for smart money to start buying this asset, because remember, they don't use technicals for their entries. They use fundamentals to determine where they think price is going to go, and then they only use technicals to determine where they're going to get those entries. So this entry is a discounted order block that is going with their directional bias of bullishness because of their own fundamental analysis. I hope that helps out, Serhat. Justif says, can you explain why did you take that order block? Yeah, I think you may have joined a little late, but as I did already explain this, the reason I like this order block is because number one, it's discounted. Number two, it's consolidated. So it's broken outside of an area of consolidation, therefore meaning it's a price cycle trade. And number three, it took liquidity. And also we have incentive for the market from here to push upwards because of this area of equal highs all the way up here. So you will notice the market has tapped once right here, tapped once, if I can draw it, tapped once, and then tapped twice. So these are the two times that the market has tapped at that set of equal highs. So I'm looking to enter here with some sort of lower time frame confirmed entry, and I'm going to look to target those equal highs up top. I hope that clears that up. Moving on now to GBP/CHF. GBP/CHF is a setup that I'm looking to short. If we look here on GBP/CHF, similarly again to GBP/AUD, we have an area of liquidity that we will look to target. So I'm looking to target this area. So you can see that we have our first tap here, and then we have our second tap all the way here. So that's the area of equal lows that I'm looking to target for sells. Since the market is very close to that set of equal lows, we do run the risk of due to the massive volume that's going to come into the market when the market opens, we do run the risk of the market taking out our equal lows prematurely and then pushing upwards. So this is what I was talking about before. I was talking about how the market could very easily take the equal lows that we are using as incentive for the market to sell off and then tap our area. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but if it does, I am still going to look at this as a valid entry. I think the area that I'm looking at is on the 12-hour. So if I just show us, this is the area of supply that I'm looking to sell this market from. I like it because if I draw in the fib from the low to the high, you also notice that this is a discounted area. So it lines up with our 0.62 of the Fibonacci. So this right here is a very nice area of supply. I'm looking for the market to come here, give me some sort of lower time frame confirmed entry, where then I will look to target these equal lows all the way down here. So that's what I'm looking at on GBP/CHF. In terms of lower time frame confirmed or not, I've already said lower time frame. I'm going to be looking for lower time frame confirmation. But if you're looking for why, you can see that that stop loss is about 50 pips, which is a bit too big. Hence why I'm looking for lower time frame confirmation. I hope that clears that up. I am now getting loads of questions in chat. I will go through them. However, I'm just going to go through them a little later because I've gotten loads of requests to break down pairs first and then take questions, because some people are only here for the pairs and so want to leave afterwards. So I just want to get that over and done with for them so that they can get on with their day. But moving on now to AUD CAD. AUD CAD is a setup that I am looking to short. If I just go on to the Oanda chart, which is where I've done all of my analysis, AUD CAD, if I just get this up again, is a setup that I'm looking to sell. I'm looking to short this from this 4-hour area of supply right here. I like this 4-hour area because if I zoom out and I go onto the chart that I sent you guys, you can see that we have number one equal lows at the bottom of this market. I'm just going to show us that by replaying this market and going on to a lower time frame. You can see that we have this set of equal lows all the way down here that the market needs to at some point take out. Let me draw that again. So we have this set right here that the market needs to take out, tapped once, tapped twice. So there's incentive for the market when it reaches up here to sell off, number one. Number two, if I go back onto the 4-hour, you'll notice that this is in this little area, this range of consolidation, and therefore we are trading price cycle. And also we can see that the market has recently, so if you look back in price, you will see that the market has tapped here, and we've had our area of supply in this market. The market has respected that area of supply, and that's what we're looking for the market to do again. So if it's respected areas of supply recently and historically, then we can expect for it to do the same again. So that's why I'm looking at AUD CAD. I would look to get a lower time frame confirmed entry on this again, even though the stop loss is about 15 pips. You can, of course, enter blindly, but for me, just because that area of consolidation, if we zoom out and go on to something like the 10-minute, is a bit wick. There's loads of wicks out. So the market has come out and then returned back into that area. I'm just going to wait for the market to give me lower time frame confirmation, so I'm 100% sure on my buy side setup before I look to enter any trades. If you are looking to enter buys to take that market up to that area of supply, just looking at it now, it looks as though maybe on like the 7-minute, yeah, there we go, on the 7-minute time frame, there is this lovely 7-minute area of demand that you could enter from. And in fact, I will send this out to the group chat. This lovely 7-minute area of demand, it looks as though it is discounted as well. So let me make sure of that. Yep, there we go. It lines up with the 0.62 of the fib. So this right here does look like a very, very nice entry. What's the risk to reward of that? A nice 1 to 7 risk to reward trade. Nothing crazy, but a nice trade to take you there, where then you can start to look for shorts to take the market down. I'm just going to refresh this page because it started to get a little laggy, and it does do that sometimes. But that's what I'm looking at. Oh no, all right, it looks like I had my market replayed, but if it was the current price, it looks as though the market would have tapped perfectly and you would have got a nice entry. So forget I said that I was talking about that entry. I forgot that I was in replay mode. But if you did get that entry, then you'd be looking at good profits. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at on AUD CAD. So just to summarize, I'm looking at this 4-hour area right here. I would look to enter sells from. I'm going to wait for lower time frame confirmation from this area, where then I would look to target this area of equal lows down here. I hope that clears up any misconceptions that you have on that. Moving on now to AUD NZD. We don't have too many pairs now left, guys. So please do be patient, because I am now getting requests for people to go through, for me to go through specific pairs. I will do that. We don't have too many pairs left, so just give me a second, guys. But moving on to AUD NZD. AUD NZD is a pair that I'm looking to buy. I'm looking to buy it from this 2-hour area right here. As you can see, this is the 2-hour area that I'm interested in. The stop loss on it is fairly small, so it's about 15 pips. But because of this wick here, as you can see, can everyone see this massive wick here? I am still going to wait for lower time frame confirmation inside of this area. In terms of take profits, there's no clear take profits for this on AUD NZD. So I'd probably just take partials at every sort of major level or major swing high. So this is the first area that I'd look to take profits at. The second area, if I just draw that again, the second area, and then maybe that last final take profit that I would be looking at on AUD NZD. The reason I like it is because if I zoom out and go into, I think it's the daily time frame. Yeah, we have this daily area that we had the market respect. So we had the market tap and then move upwards, create this high. The market then tapped again, gave us a Wyckoff distribution, Wyckoff accumulation schematic. So if I just show us, this is a Wyckoff accumulation schematic. This would be our spring, our preliminary support, sellers climax, secondary test, and then this would be our spring, and we'd be looking to get some sort of lower time frame last point of support entry. It did come very close to tapping this low area of demand here, but it didn't. I was interested in buying
821.
I'm just gonna mute everyone. Give me a second. But as I was saying, we did have this. I did have this order block marked out, and I was interested in buying from this order block, but we didn't have that tap inwards. I am now looking at this order block, so this 2-hour order block for the market to tap back into, where I will wait for lower time frame confirmation, looking to take this market higher to maybe these highs and these highs. So that's what I'm looking at on AUD and ZD. And I remember, I think Big Shell last week did point out this an entry all the way down here. Let me look back. I think it was on the 5 minutes, something like that. I think he had an entry here or here. I'm not sure. I think it might have been here. But what we had happen was we had this massive wick. So AUD NZD is being a bit annoying recently. We have loads of these annoying wicks. So this right here, and then more recently, the one that ruined Shell's setup here. But I'm hoping that we don't have another of those at our entry price. So this was the 2-hour entry that we are looking at again. Just to look at it again, I'm hoping that we don't have an annoying wick when the market comes to that area that ruins our setup. But that's what I'm looking at on AUD NZD. I hope that clears that up. Moving on now to, I think we have, what's that, 2 more setups left. The first setup is on USD JPY. If I go into USD JPY and I break it down for us, USD JPY is a setup that I'm looking to enter on both sides of this market. I'm looking to buy, then take this take this market to this. I think it's 10-hour area. Yep, 10-hour area of supply, where then I'm looking to sell all the way to take profits as this area of equal lows all the way down here. In terms of our buy, the reason I'm buying this is because on the daily time frame, you see that we've tapped this daily order block right here that the market has respected. So it's given us good reaction by coming outside with this little wick. I think I did see it as well on the 9-hour, maybe 10-hour, 12-hour. Let me just scroll through these to find the time frame that I was looking at. Yeah, there we go. So we did have a 15-minute order block, a 15-hour order block that the market tapped, respected perfectly, a perfect, nice sniper entry, pushed upwards. And if we look on the 5-minute, you can see that we have this little reaction from that 15-hour area. In terms of entries at the moment, there's nothing clear, just because we have loads of wicks and stuff like that, just because it was the very end of last week. So the end of sessions and the start of sessions, we're going to have this bit of choppy price action, which is always a bit annoying. So we're not going to have an entry to set limits on when market opens, but I'm hoping for when market opens, we see a nice push upwards, right? Something like this. We see a nice push upwards, leaving behind an order block where then we can enter from, looking to target this area right here. In terms of the sell, I'm looking to sell from this 10-hour area of supply. I'm looking to sell from this 10-hour area because it formed after liquidity was taken. So we had liquidity taken, our order block form, and smart money sell with the liquidity found above this area here. And then from here, I'm looking to take this market, excuse me, all the way down to areas of equal lows all the way down here. So that's why I'm looking at on USD JPY. USD JPY as a whole, if we just look at our weekly, is severely overbought. So we do need a significant retracement at a minimum before the market continues to push upwards. So that's what I'm looking at on USD JPY. Moving on now to USD CAD. USD CAD is a setup that I'm looking to buy. If I go on to my Oanda chart, there we go. A USD CAD is a setup that I'm looking to buy. Let me just look at the time frames. Yep, on the daily time frame, I'm looking to buy from this daily area, as you can see marked up by this little arrow. I'm looking to buy from this daily area right here, and I'm looking to take profits at this major swing high. I'm of course going to look for lower time frame confirmation with this trade because the stop loss on that is way too big, about 35 pips. So I would wait for a lower time frame confirmation in the form of either a Wyckoff accumulation schematic or a order block within an order block. So an area of demand within an area of demand. This is our higher time frame area of demand. I would look for an area of demand inside of that area of demand, where then I can enter my buys with a refined entry and a small stop loss, looking to target these areas here. I'm probably then going to look for the market to sell off just because liquidity has then been taken. There's no real reason for the market to continue pushing upwards, but that's what I'd be looking at on USD CAD. The reason I like this area more than this area or this area, so I like this area more than this area and this area, is just because this area is close to being equal highs. So if I just show us, you see that the market formed this high, right? And then form that high very close again to that high. So on another broker, this may have very easily been equal highs. So that's why I'm looking to take profits at these this set of equal highs, where then perhaps we'll see a liquidity grab. So a liquidity grab and then the market reverse downwards again. So that's what I'm looking at on USD CAD. That is actually all of the pairs that I have personally sent out so far. I'm now going to take pairs that you guys want broken down. If you want your request to be answered quickly, then please put your hand up. So we now have Big Shell and Isuma Kosi with their hands up. I am going to take their questions and then anyone else with their hands up, and then I'm going to move on to chat. Chat is going to be very hard for me to go through just because there are loads and loads of people in here. So if you definitely put your hand up if you want your request or your pair to be broken down. I'm going to start off with Isuma Kosi. Yeah,
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, hi.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. How about you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I wanted to ask a question. How is can you explain to me like change of character in the market?
Yep, of course I can.
And also, is it a confluence? Or is it also like an extra confluence?
Nope. Change of character is something necessary for a trade. Confluence.
All right.
Confluence is so I'm just going to define the two for us, just for the people that may not have that clear. A change of character is something we need. So say, for example, trend has been bullish, and then the market taps into a massive weekly area of demand from a very, very long time ago. So trend has been bearish, and then it taps into this weekly area. I would want to see a change of character on the lower time frames, perhaps a nice break of structure here, where then I will start looking to buy. So a change of character is necessary. However, confluence just means that the setup is a higher probability setup and therefore more likely to play out. So change of character is necessary. Confluence is not necessary. In terms of what a change of character would look like on a real life chart, I'm just going to try get one up for us. It's going to be hard for me to get out just randomly, but I'll draw it out for you. So say, for example, we have a weekly area of demand that the market has pushed away from and then been bearish ever since. So this is our bearish price action. This is the weekly area of demand. When the market taps inside of that area weekly demand, I would like to see at a minimum the market push above some sort of high that was created in this market. When
the high that was created before it touched the zone.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the high created before the market touched the zone. I just need to see some sort of lower time frame high be broken. So it could be this high or this high. It doesn't necessarily have to be this one.
It just has to be a high.
Yeah, exactly, on the lower time frames. And then when we see that, we look for an order block just before that break of structure occurred, where then I would get my entry to take this market higher. So that's what that would look like in terms of a change of character. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And how do we pick like our what they call it, take profits? How do we choose our take profits? Do we choose it on the lower time frame or on the higher time frame when trading? Can you show like an example or something?
Yep, I can definitely do that. So on GPAUD, the setup that we're looking to buy from, if I just go on to GPAUD Owanda and I go into the 4 hour, you can see that I'm looking to target higher time frame liquidity. So your take profit should always be at areas of liquidity. It doesn't necessarily matter where you put it on the higher time frame or the lower time frame. It just depends on how long you're looking to hold the trade. So say, for example, right here, I could very easily said, we have this area of equal highs. I'm going to look to take profits there, which is that's a smart take profit. So it doesn't necessarily matter where you put it, the higher time frame or the lower time frame, just an area of liquidity. The stronger the area of liquidity, the better, but it doesn't matter in terms of the higher time frame or lower time frame.
All right, so you just have to look for where there's liquidity.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you.
Is that all?
Yeah, that'll be all for now.
No problem. Glad I could help. Moving
Thank
on now to Big Shell, the legend.
Hey, Mahad, how are you, bud?
I'm great, brother. How about you?
Good, good. Hey, I got a Kiwi dollar, and Little Bird told me that they like to buy earlier in the week, and now I'm due to mismanagement. This is kind of maybe a lesson for some of the newbies on trade management. So I'm in drawdown. It looks like there's an area below on the monthly it could go to. So I have three options. I cut and run, I hold, or I hedge into a sell.
Right.
I'd like your opinion.
This monthly area is a wee bit away. It's a good 200, like 100 pip, like it's a good 100 pips away. So I definitely wouldn't be looking to
Well,
hold.
that's what I said when I went into the buy.
Yeah, that's yeah, and that buy would make sense. I mean, it looks as though it would make sense.
I
'cause look,
know.
we have an area of equal highs at top. I the way I would look at this is on the daily. So did you buy from this daily area?
It was, I could tell you exactly where the buy is. 71 157.
No way, you bought all the way up here. Bloody hell. 71 157. So you bought up here. Like so that's gonna be in massive drawdown then. I mean, you've held it this long. I mean, I don't know what to say. You've held it for like
I
a good
know.
300 pips. What's another 100 pips gonna do?
That's what I'm saying. But would you hedge? Would you hedge into the sell?
No, I wouldn't hedge because what
No.
we've just had
Okay.
is because if let me show you, we've just had this set of equal lows form. So what smart money might look to do is they may look to go away from that area to accumulate liquidity before then pushing downwards again.
Yeah.
So you need to have the set of equal lows form before you actually look to take it out, right? So what could very easily happen is the market push upwards and take out. But if you hedge and sell from here, well, then you would be negative on both that sell from here and
Right.
so it would be a bad
That's why I
idea. I'd
asked.
say. Yeah. I think your best option would probably be just to take your loss. How big in terms of a percentage is it? How big of a percentage loss is it?
It's close to 2.
2%. Yeah, just take that loss. Just definitely just take that loss. It's not worth it. I just take that loss.
Yeah.
Because in terms of right now, at the moment, it's unclear. It could very easily push upwards, forming the set of equal lows, or just continue going downwards to this monthly area where then you could buy from there to take the market to the set of equal highs.
Yeah,
This is
okay.
this right. Yeah, definitely. When you have like this sort of daily area, just wait for. Oh no, you didn't enter from here. You entered up here. But for the people that would have entered from here, just understand that you want to see a change of character on the lower time frames before you enter a buy from here. But with your buy from here, I mean, it made sense on the lower time frames because it looks like I have an order block marked out. It tapped and pushed upwards a wee bit.
That's where I bought from. Yeah.
So let me take a look at that area.
I mismanaged. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a mistake you will learn from. Just take your loss, take the L.
Yeah.
With, just take it on the chin and you've learned something from it, which is the main thing. So your analysis was perfect because I probably would have looked to enter from here as well. So you maybe entered somewhere around here. We had that order block form, push upwards, break this high, come up, come back down. So you would be considering this order block as a valid order block since it broke structure. And then perhaps the only thing that I would have said is let's look at that stop loss. That stop loss is still small enough for you to enter blindly. So I don't blame you at all. But the only thing that you should have done is just taken your loss when it hit stop loss. Just take that loss and that's what I would say. But
I was looking at that imbalance, figuring it would rebound off that imbalance to the left, and it never did.
That makes complete sense. Next time, understand when you have a stop loss in place, don't change the stop loss. Just hit stop loss, get out the trade. That's what I'd say. But for the trade that you're in right now, I'd say just take your
Hopefully
loss.
everyone just heard what you said. Say it again.
Yeah. So if you are in a trade, so I don't like blanket rules, but one blanket rule that you need to have when you're risk managing your trades. When a trade hits stop loss, it hits stop loss. Get out of the trade. It's not worth staying in, because what will happen is you'll chase the setup. You'll end up missing new buys from here because you're still holding this new buy, this like buy that's in drawdown and stuff like that. So it's just not worth it. I'd say when a trade hits stop loss, it hits stop loss. Trust your analysis, but don't trust it so much to the point where you're losing money for no reason. So that's what I'd say. When it hits stop loss, it hits stop loss. But that's a lesson for all of us, Big Show. Thank you for letting us know that. But in terms of what you would do, just take that out, I'd say. Because
Yeah, I'll just cut it. Yep.
yeah,
All right.
glad
Glad
that
I could help.
glad I could help. Yeah, exactly.
All
That's
right,
all I
all
said.
right, brother.
No
All right,
problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Moving on now to who's DK. Yeah, hi. How are you? Your mic quality is very bad. I don't know if that's just me. I can't really hear you much.
Yeah, give me a second. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit better. Yeah.
So I was asking of Euro USD. If we could look at Euro USD.
Yep, Euro USD.
Yeah. Even though we are in that that daily POI.
Daily POI. Okay.
That is just yeah. I was looking at on the 4 hour.
I don't see any sort of daily POI at the moment inside of this area.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the 4 hour time frame.
Yep, 4 hour time frame.
The market reacted to an OB, a daily OB up there, yeah, for a sell before market closed.
Oh, okay. Oh, this does look nice. So the market tap this order block, and we have this little wick that shows reaction.
So 15 minutes.
This does look nice.
Yeah, on 15 minutes that break of structure. I was actually taking an entry from maybe if I get a break of structure from the recent break of structure, like a scotch to the downside. Yes. Yeah.
This does look very, very nice. I'll give you that. DK, this is a nice spot. So what we have is, for the people that didn't get that, is that we have the market just tap this daily area on the higher time frames. And then we're inside of that area. We've seen this wick right here, which means we've seen reaction. And if you look at the 15-minute, it looks as though we might have a Wyckoff distribution schematic now forming. So the way I look at this is our preliminary supply, our buyer's climax, and then our secondary test accumulating liquidity at that high. Our UT, our UTAD, and then we're looking for a break of structure now below this low, and then we would start looking for lower time frame, last point of support entries. I can't lie, brother, you've got an amazing trade right here. I'm just gonna scroll.
I think on 1 minute, I was looking at the 1 minute for a few 1 minute.
This area looks nice. I just like to see it on like the 3 minute or the 2 minute, just because, yeah, it probably isn't going to come up for me, but it does look nice. I'd say take this if it breaks structure below here and it doesn't form any like better order blocks. So say, for example, it forms a nicer order block here, well, then you would probably abandon this, or you'd set limits at both. But this right here does look good at the moment. And in terms of take profits, where would you target? Let's just take a look. 30 minute. There's nothing clear, so you probably just look to take profits at this low. So this looks very, very nice. This is a nice spot. I'll give you that. Euro USD at the moment. Yeah, go
on. And USD CHF, I think since they are related.
Yeah, USD.
Or buy on USD CHF, same kind of setup on the 4 hour. Reacted before market close.
USD CHF. So go on to the daily. It looks like I already have this analyzed. But if you look at the 4 hour, so what time frame did you want me to look at?
4 hour. I think there was a little bit of reaction. I didn't know the broker though, but my broker, I think there was a reaction.
Yeah, I think on your broker there may have been reaction. Right here on the Oanda chart, there's no reaction from this order block. But on USD CHF, my higher time frame bias is that I'd like for the market to come here and then start to go fully bullish. If I just reload this page, give me a second. It does this every now and then where it goes a bit laggy. But on USD CHF, let me go on to USD CHF around the chart. What I'd be looking at is I'd be looking to buy this at some point, because if you go onto our weekly, you'll notice that we've been bearish for a very, very long time. We've taken loads of liquidity below these lows, and now on the daily, the more recent daily time frame, you'll see that we are now bullish on this. The market came close to tapping this daily area, however, didn't. We had liquidity form, liquidity be taken, and then form our daily area here. So this is a very interesting daily area. So what I'd love for the market to do is I'd love for the market to push upwards, push into this area, and then from this area, push downwards into this daily area of demand, where then I would look for the market to push upwards. I didn't send this to the group chat just because these are daily areas and they are a good bit away. But if this does kind of support your analysis. So if this did touch on your broker, so this would have been the order block you'd be looking at. If that tapped on your broker, then you would have gotten this could go up here, push downwards, and then from here push upwards. So this does go with your analysis. We do have someone snoring. I'm not sure who that is. I think it's Farhan. So I'm just gonna mute. But as I was saying, as you were saying, DK, go on.
That's the two pairs I wanted to look at.
Okay, yeah, no problem. For USD CHF, I'd say, I mean, go for the buy if it's tapped your broker. Look for lower time frame confirmation, then go for the buy. But I look from here for the market to come to this daily area, and then from that daily area for the market to push downwards into this daily area of demand, where then I would look to enter long-term buys all the way. So that's what I'd be looking at on USD CHF. I hope that clears that up. Moving on now, yeah, I'm glad I could help. Moving on now to Rian Arense. I'm so sorry, I butchered your name.
It's okay, man. You can butcher it. Hey, I'm new. Hi, I'm new. I've seen.
Glad to have you part of the team.
Cool, man. Thanks a lot for having me. So I've uploaded 2 charts on the group member to mentor. If you could just have a look at those 2 uploads quick.
Yeah,
and just
cool,
give me a quick yeah, under Butahaki. That's my pseudonym. So the first one is up top.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's
NASDAQ. Okay. So looking at the NASDAQ, and you're looking for the market to push downwards because you've got an inverse, you've got a head and shoulders pattern.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, head and shoulders is a retail strategy. However,
100%, yeah, I was just using it as a confluence.
Yep, I'm just going to take a look at the time frames. The NASDAQ is probably going to sell off. You're right in terms of directional bias because of that news that we've had come out. In terms of where, what time frame are you looking at? You're looking at the daily. So let's take a look at the daily. On the daily time frame, I do like this. This is very nice on the daily time frame. So I'd like for the market to push upwards from here and then push downwards to this area, where then perhaps we could see the market push upwards. That does make sense. However, if I look onto something like the 2-hour, there all of a sudden are way more valid. There are more valid areas. So there's this, and then also above that, there's this. So on the NASDAQ, I agree with you on directional bias, but in terms of entries, I probably, if you are going to get an entry from here, wait for lower time frame confirmation, since there are 2 other also valid areas just above that. But your setup does make sense. In terms of take profits, I think the area that I have marked out is this 10-hour order block right here, where I'm hoping that the market will tap and then push upwards. There is also this down here that the market could come to. But that would be a proper sell-off. So that would cause about a 10% sell-off on the NASDAQ. So that would be like crash, like market crash level stuff. So it's probably not going to go all the way down here. It's probably just going to ignore that order block, come to something like this, and then push upwards. So that's what I'm looking at on the NASDAQ. But your analysis does make sense.
All right.
Is that all?
I got another one. on
Yep.
US 30. So in the chat, if you just go, I think one chart up, yeah. So just one up, oh, the one above that.
Oh, yep. Ooh, yep. Okay. This looks nice.
Yeah, that's
So
the one.
fair value gap. So FVG, for those of you that don't know what that means, it's just fair value gap, which is the same thing as imbalance.
Yeah.
So what you're looking at is you're looking for the market to come and fill this fair value gap. So let's look at the 4 hour. So we have this fair value gap right here. And the one that you said that got filled was down here. That makes complete sense. I like everything so far. This does make sense technically because we are very oversold on this market at the moment. I think that the market will start to push upwards and then sell off. We did have equal lows as well, the market take out that I think you also have marked out as well on your chart. So this right here so far looks very, very nice. In terms of entries, I would love for the market to actually push upwards all the way and then come and tap in my old entry from last week. So I did actually send this out last week, but it missed it by literally hairs, which is so annoying because we would have caught this full sell-off. It missed it by a tiny amount, but whatever, we live and we learn. I'm hoping that I will come and take that out, take this high out and then sell off. The reason that I think that will happen is if I just get my session indicator out and I go on to the 30-minute, you'll notice, right? Oh no, it's actually been taken out already. So I'm just going to get rid of that. But still, just because this order block is valid, we've had that Asia session liquidity be taken out, the order block form. I would love for the market to come and take out my order block, will come to my order block, tap my order block, and then sell off from that area to lows all the way down here. In terms of take profits for the sell, I would probably look to target, I'm hoping when the market starts to push upwards, I would look to target the low left behind by the upwards move that we're going to see in the next coming week. So the market starts to push upwards, it will leave behind some sort of swing high, swing low, and I'll look to target that swing low when the market starts to push downwards. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
I agree with your analysis, though. It's a good bit of analysis. I do like the fair value gaps as well that you've marked out. They are both very, very valid. So in terms of this one right here, this needs to be taken out 100%. So from here, this here to this here, the market will 100% just fly through there, I'm hoping. And then maybe if it doesn't come all the way up here, maybe to an order block within these two candles, and then we'll start to see the market sell off. So that's what I would love to see on US 30. In terms of the order block, if it doesn't push all the way to here, then it could very easily from here, let's go to the 90-minute, from this area start to sell off. So that this area and this area are the two areas I'd probably be watching on US 30. I hope that helps out.
Oh yeah, it does. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
No problem. Glad I could help. Moving on now to Yunus Baba Aziz. I'm going to give you permission to unmute.
Hey, thanks. I hope you are doing well. As the community.
I'm
Thanks.
doing great, brother. How about you?
Well, very good, thanks. Can you go, please, for about US 200?
US 200.
I think I see that we have a clear Wyckoff schematic distribution.
US 200. I've never gone on to
200.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's see if it comes up. US 200 doesn't look like it's coming up.
2000, yes, in minerals.
Oh, 2000. Okay, that makes sense.
Sorry.
Yep. US 2000. What are you looking at, brother? You're looking at a Wyckoff schematic.
Yes.
Okay.
I think the last up round it is kind of U-chart.
Yep. Okay. So you're looking at this whole area being a schematic.
Yes, kind of distribution.
Okay, this does look interesting. Preliminary supply, bias climax, secondary test. Okay, it does look good, but this is too big. Okay, I don't like these sort of like massive daily Wyckoff schematics. They do play out because if I look at Bitcoin, you'll see that the market formed this massive Wyckoff schematic and then respected it to the pip. I think there was a 20-minute area that the market tapped and then fell off all the way from. So they do work. and I am expecting for the market to have like a massive sell-off in terms of the stock market as a whole, and this does go with that sentiment. So I do like it because of that. In terms of entries, there's just nothing clear at the moment. It did break structure as well. I would look at this. Okay, maybe not on the 2-day, maybe the 1-day time frame. This little area does look interesting. The sells. But in terms of the Wyckoff distribution schematic, it's just going to be very hard to mark out. It does make sense logically, but it's going to be hard to mark out. So we have high swarm in this market, accumulating liquidity, and then those highs do be taken out. So it does make sense logically. In terms of marking it out, though, it's going to be very, very hard. I would love for the market to push downwards, give me a proper break to the downside, maybe below these lows, or at a minimum these lows, where then I would look to short from this area. But that's a good spot. I'll give you that. This right here is a good spot, and it does go with my belief is within the next year maximum and the next 6 months minimum, we're going to see 1929 Great Depression type stock market crash. In my opinion, the stock market is in a massive bubble. In my opinion, this is my opinion, no, not financial advice, of course. You have to make that clear. But I believe the stock market is in a bubble. The prices right now are massively inflated, and what as evidence I believe for that is Tesla reached, I think, $1,000 the other day, and Elon Musk started selling his own stock, and he's the owner. He doesn't have much incentive to sell the stock. So if he starts selling, well, best believe the stock is massively overvalued. So that right there is a clear indicator that, in my opinion, the market is going to start to see sell-offs. And another person, Bill Murray, no, not Bill Murray, he's a comedian. What am I saying? What's his name? Michael Burry or something like that. The guy that called the 2008 market crash also believes that the market is going to have a massive 1929 type stock market crash. And this does go with that sentiment. So I do like it because of that reason. And in terms of your technical analysis does look very, very nice. So thank you for this. This is very useful. I will look at this area. In fact, I'll set an alert right now because I'm trying to make a lot of money off that crash. I'm going to let you guys know my sentiment is it's going to crash. So if you want to do your own due diligence and start to sell this, well, then go for it, because that's what I'm definitely going to be doing. And I'm going to look to sell and then buy. It's going to be very hard for me to catch both sides of this market, but I'm going to try buy. I'm not in the stock market at all at the moment. I'm only in one cryptocurrency, and that's Cardano, which is absolutely getting ruined recently. But I'm hoping that with this stock market crash, I can catch that full sell downwards, maybe not the full sell downwards, but most of it, and then get that buy upwards as well. So yeah, this does go with that analysis. So I do like this very, very much. Thank you for that. Is that all that you wanted to go through?
I have another question. Do you consider in your trading breaker block and also mitigation block? Is a concept by ACT?
Yes, I've heard of. I know what it is. It's basically where we have an area, an order block. So say for example, the market forms an order block. The market goes away from that order block, but doesn't respect it. So it goes straight through it and then leaves behind an order block here, where then you would look to buy from, and you would use this breaker block or mitigation block as added confluence. That's what you mean, right?
Yes, it is right.
I do understand it in terms of, I've never really looked at it as a breaker block. I've just looked at it as resistant turn support, and resistance turn support makes sense to me. Reason for that is there would be people, say for example, we've had people buy this market at this area. So what we've had is, say for example, a tiny little push to the upside that's broken a previous high, and people have started to look for breaks and retest to enter new buys in this market. The market sells downwards, and they're thinking, I'm going to hold this because it's going to come back up. We're at an area of resistance, so it's a 100% going to come back up. So what they've done is they've opened buys, pushed upwards, and the market has put them into profit. When the market puts them into profit, they're thinking it's going to continue pushing upwards, so they're still holding the buy that they've opened here. And then when the market brings them back at break even, they close their trades. And therefore, and that's what we call trapped traders. So for those of you that trade support and resistance, or used to trade retail strategies such as support and resistance and vice versa. You may have heard of that concept known as trapped traders, and that's the one retail strategy that makes logical sense in my head. So I haven't really looked at it as a breaker block or a mitigation block, but it does make logical sense. So perhaps it's something that I should look more into. In fact, I'll do that after this call and see if I can get anything useful out of that breaker / mitigation block strategy. But I don't trade it at the moment, is the truth.
But thanks, man. Thanks.
No problem. Glad I could help, or I hope I could help. I don't know if I could help, but if I did, I'm glad
Yes,
I
you
could
did.
help.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
no problem. Glad I could help. Moving on now to Mariam Abdullah. Giving you permission to unmute.
Hello, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Okay, sorry, can you check GPUSD?
Did you say GBPUSD?
Yes.
GBPUSD, I've already broken down and I sent it to the group chat. So I'm just going to show you what I sent to the group chat. GBPUSD is a setup that I'm looking to sell. So if I go into the 4 hour, I'm looking to sell this asset. Let me just go into the Oanda chart. I'm looking to sell this asset from this 4 hour area of consolidated order block that is discounted. I'm going to look for lower time frame confirmation at that area, and I'm going to look to sell this. I did break it down, and that breakdown was recorded, and I did send it out to the group chat. So I'm not going to ponder on it too long, but that's what I'm looking at on GBPUSD. Does that help?
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you.
No problem. Glad I could help. Moving on now to King Solves FX.
Hi, Mahal.
Hi, brother. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. So please, can you just give me brief explanation, or can I just know the actual difference between change of character and BMS?
We've had
Like,
this
if you
question, I
look
think,
at-
every single week, but I'll go through it again for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because I always don't really know where to actually get the change of character.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll definitely go through it. It just shows that it's something people are unclear on. Perhaps I should make a video about it on the course. But I'll go through it for you guys right now in terms of what the difference is between a change of character and a break of structure. A change of character is a type of break of structure. So the break of structure is like the overall category, and then you have types of breaks of structures. So a normal break of structure would just be a high in this market, and we've taken out that high to the upside. Another high in this market, we've taken out that high to the upside. This can be considered a break of structure, and this would be considered a break of structure. They're nothing fancy, just a simple, good old break of structure. That's it. A change of character is where we have the market come into, so say, for example, this is our weekly area of demand. We'd wait for the market to come into that area of demand, where then we'd look for the markets to start pushing upwards from that area of demand. I want the market to break above some sort of previous high. So hence why I call a change of character a type of break of structure. So I'd like for the market to break some sort of previous high to indicate character is changing. So it's what it sounds like. So we've been bearish for a while, right? And that I'm going to expect for the market to change character or change trend with this break of structure here. So it's a break of structure, perhaps indicating a change in trend. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Is
Thank you.
that
And also, yes, it does.
Yeah, okay. Is that all?
It do make sense. Yeah. No. Please, I want to know the difference between shitty coins and stable coins, because I have a coin. Shitty coins like shitty.
Shilly coins. I've never heard of that. I've heard of shit coins.
Shitty like shit. Yes.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I've never heard it like be said that way. I've just heard shit coin, not shitty coin, but fine, I'll go through it for you. Yeah, it's fine. I'll go through it for you. A stable coin, there aren't many stable coins in the market. There's Bitcoin, Ethereum, perhaps you could call Cardano a stable coin, but those are the main two. Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are considered stable coins, and their value comes from they basically are stores of value, except for Ethereum. Ethereum has use, so you can have apps be built on Ethereum. But Bitcoin, the main stable coin, is just its main source of value is that it stores value. It's like gold. So back in the day, the US dollar used to be tied to gold. So what would happen is you'd have the market, you'd have the market. So say, for example, if you had $100, you could go to a mint and you could actually get your $100 in gold. So you could have it be switched over from gold to US dollars or US dollars to gold. So the US dollar was tied to gold. Now it's not like that. So the Fed or the Federal Reserve can just print as much gold dollars as possible. But Bitcoin, so Bitcoin is similar to the back in the day gold. It holds value for almost all cryptos. When Bitcoin goes down, it will, a lot of the time what happens is it will reflect across the whole market and all cryptos will go down that day. So Bitcoin or the main stable coin are the main coins, the main cryptocurrencies, basically Ethereum and Bitcoin. The shit coins are just like shit coins. They're called shit coins for a reason. They don't really have much value. Their main value is a lot of retail traders coming together and trying to oh, well, sorry, that was Siri being annoying. But stable shit coins are just coins that a lot of retail traders have pumped. Basically, they've gone together and said, let's all buy this coin, and they've pumped it. So Shiba Inu is considered a shit coin. That may offend a couple of people, but Shiba Inu is considered a shit coin. It's considered a shit coin because, I mean, it's starting to have value. It didn't really have value back in the day.
And it's having structure yourself.
Yeah, so it didn't really have value back in the day, but what happened was retail traders pumping it gave the founders of Shiba Inu enough money to start actually giving it utility, and now it's starting to have utility. So it's starting to not be a shit coin, but back in the day when it was just retail traders pumping it, then you could consider it a shit coin. Maybe not back now, but Shiba Inu's one, and all of the new ones, like the dog related ones and the cat related ones. What's another one? The other one that got rug pulled the other day, what's it called? What's that Netflix thing? I forgot. That the Korean thing, I forgot what it's called. Squid Game coin, Squid Game token. Yeah, that.
Squid Game, okay.
It got rug pulled the other day, and that's something I would call a shit coin. It's the price is pulled by straight hype, nothing else. So that's what a shit coin is, and the stable coins are the major coins. You could also consider USDT. So USDT is considered a stable coin because it's so one USDT is always going to be $1. That's stable. It's not going to change. So that's also a stable coin. But the main coins and USDT are what I'd consider stable coins. Moving on now.
What about the coin you said you're investing on now?
Oh, I'm investing in Cardano. It was a good idea. It's basically Ethereum, except that it has a lower effect on the environment. I can't lie. I bought it because an uncle told me to buy it. I don't know too much about it, but I think it's basically Ethereum, but a little bit better. So the gas fees are a little bit lower. It has less effect on the environment. It's you can build apps on it and stuff like that. So you can build applications on top of a Cardano in the same way that you can do that on Ethereum. But that's about it. That's all I really know about Cardano. But I think it's apparently going to be a good investment for the future. I mean, you guys can tell me if you think otherwise, but that's why I'm investing in Cardano. I'm hoping at the moment, if I just get the Cardano chart up, you'll see that it's been going down a lot recently. So I don't really know what's going to happen on Cardano. I'm hoping that I will at some point start to push upwards, but I'm down on my investment at the moment. I started to buy at about here, so $1.7. So I'm down on my investment, but we move. I didn't really look at the chart when I was buying. I just bought straight fundamentals for Cardano. But I am hoping this is a long-term hold. I'm going to be holding it for the next 5-10 years. So I'm not really stressed out about being down on crypto, especially because it's crypto. You're going to be down for a while before you start to be up. So I'm just going to be holding for the future. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at on Cardano. And in terms of the other questions that you had, I hope that has cleared that up. Do you have any other further questions?
No, please. Thank you very much.
No problem. Glad I could help. Moving on now to whose hands next? AD. AD has his hand up. Moving on to AD. AD, you've got your hand up. Yep, there you go.
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
I'm great, brother. How about you?
Good, good. Thank you. I just wanted to say one thing is like, can we get another section in Discord, like regarding crypto and other stuff, you know, if like somebody wants to share their knowledge for other people.
We do already have a section for crypto.
Oh,
So right
okay.
here,
I didn't
crypto
realize
calls.
it.
So this right here, crypto calls is a section that you guys can look at for crypto related stuff. We do have, so if you go to pairs analysis, every specific pair, so euro pairs, AUD pairs, indices, commodities, CAD pairs, and you can see all of them on the pairs analysis. So just go to pairs analysis, you'll be able to see the crypto calls.
Okay, that's great. And also, like, if somebody, like, can we have group trading, like in London or New York session, if somebody is interested?
With our sort of strategy, a lot of the time we don't sit at charts. So for me right now, I don't. When I do my analysis, I'll set alerts for the pairs that I'm waiting for lower time from confirmation, and when those alerts trigger, then I'll sit down at my computer and I will look at entries that I can potentially find. But if I have limits set, then the limit's set. I don't really need to look at the chart back again. So I don't sit at the chart too much and like do analysis, say for example, during the London session or during the New York session. But what will happen is I'll come back to my chart at once. So every, say, 2 hours, I'll sit back down at my chart and just look at it to see if any sort of new entries have shown themselves to me during the London session or the New York session. For me, I don't do that in terms of watching it, just sitting there watching it. But if you would like, and other people would like, I do have a section in the group called backtesting. So group channel, a voice channel called backtesting. And if you want, you can just come, you can plan with a couple of people to join, with a couple of other members in the group to join backtesting at specific times. So you could perhaps say at 9 p.m. GMT, we're all going to join backtesting, and if enough people agree, then you can all join backtesting and you can all live trade together. Personally, me, I don't trade in terms of I'm going to set up the chart at during the London session. I don't do that. I like to set limits and then forget about them, or look at lower time frame confirmed entries.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. I hope that helped. Moving on now to Kamal Yare. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm great, brother. How about you?
Thank you. I'm good. I had some few pairs, but you have already mentioned. But I have 2 pairs, which is CAD JPY on daily time frame.
Yep. CAD JPY on daily time frame. Yep.
Yeah, I can see some demand has been touched. Yep. On the 15 minutes. We are not getting some reaction, but I see some, based on the daily time frame, I can see it's a demand touched.
Yep, let me get that up on my screen. So are you looking at this daily area?
Yeah.
Is this the daily? Let me just mute everyone. We're getting a lot of background noise. Give me a second. But as you were saying, what were you saying? So this daily area right here.
Yeah.
Yep. So on the 15-minute, you want me to go to now?
Yeah, I can see some clear reaction, but I'm still waiting. So how do you see?
So the market has tapped that 15-minute area. By the way, I think there was someone in last week's Zoom call that I told this would literally happen. I told that.
Yeah, person. I took this sell.
So yeah, so I called this last week. So for those of you that entered, you're not rich people, because that's a good drop. That's a good 280 pip drop in 3 days. So congrats on those profits for those of you that entered. But on the buy now, it does look as though there is reaction. It's formed this little area of support now. So what I'd like for the market to do is take out liquidity from there and then start to push upwards. If I look at my Asia session, there is this Asia high that hasn't been taken out yet. So there is incentive for the market to push upwards. In terms of entries, I just scroll through timeframes. I mean, there is this 4-minute one that market is literally inside of as we speak. But of course, you wouldn't enter that just because price is literally inside it. It's a bit too late. And what will happen is spreads will be too high when the market opens. So you'll just hit stop loss straight away. So you wouldn't want to enter that. But on the, let's just scroll through, let's say the 10-minute, nothing much. What I'd say would most likely happen is what I'd like for the market to do is continue selling off. So take the liquidity formed at this low area of support, take that liquidity. Once it takes that liquidity, start to push upwards. That's what I would that's what I'd be saying on CAD JPY. But your analysis is nice. I do like your analysis. Is that all?
No. How about US 500?
US 500. I'll go through that right now. US 500.
Similar to CAD JPY.
US 500. Yep, we had a massive drop on Friday as a result of that news coming out. It dropped by 3%. Let's take a look. Is it inside of the same sort of daily area?
Daily time frame. On the daily time frame, I can see it's just similar to CAD JPY, but yeah, daily time frame, I can see a demand. On 15 minutes, I can see some liquidity grab, but it's not clear.
Yep, this does look nice. I'll give you that. The daily area is a bit rough just because there's a lot of wicks back into the area. So can you see this little wick here? This little wick here may invalidate the daily area. However, let's continue as though this is valid. In terms of the 15-minute liquidity grab we're talking about, we had this little trend line be formed, right? So I do like this. So far, so good. We have this little trend line. The market took that liquidity below the trend line. And it looks as though we could have a Wyckoff schematic start to play out. So this would be our sort of preliminary support. I would love to see a Wyckoff schematic. So inside of this area, if we got like a Wyckoff schematic where this was our preliminary support, this was our seller's climax, and we start to see like reaction with our sellers secondary test, our spring, and then our push upwards. I would love for that to happen, but it did just tap. The area isn't, perfectly valid. So I definitely wouldn't buy blindly. I would wait for lower time frame confirmation. But US 500 just in terms of if we zoom out, is fairly oversold at the moment. It did drop heavily on Friday, so it does need to retrace naturally. So your analysis does make sense. This daily area is probably the only area, besides from areas all the way down here, but I don't think it's going to go all the way down there, because if it drops all the way to there, then it would have dropped by about 8%, which is massive for the S&P 500. So I don't think it will reach all the way down here. So this is probably the most valid order block that's happened fairly recently. From here, wait for lower time frame confirmation. If you do get that lower time frame confirmation, then an entry from here targeting some sort of high, maybe here or here, makes complete sense.
Well, one last question about supply and demand. When we're looking supply and demand, do we must have an engulfing candle, which is opposite to the other side?
Yeah.
Or it doesn't matter, either we get engulfing or a candle which is opposite to the other direction. I don't know if you get my question.
I think so. Your question is, do you need an engulfing candle?
Is it must to have an engulfing candle? Yeah.
So for me, I personally need an engulfing candle. Reason for that being two things. An engulfing candle will normally happen as a result of increased volume. Increased volume only happens, or greatly increased volume only really happens in this market when we are looking at real liquidity real volume entering this market from smart money. Smart money, the big institutions, the big banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and those type of banks have loads and loads of money to be entering trades with. And therefore, when they enter the market, it's gonna represent itself on the market as a massive volume increase. So that's why I think we do need an engulfing candle. So an engulfing candle is one of the two things, excuse me, the two things that make an order block valid. Number one, so say for example, this is our order block. I want to see number one, this engulfing candle, and I would love to see the market break structure. So say we have some sort of previous high in this market. I want that high. So this is the high in that market. I want this high to be taken out before I consider this order block valid. And then when I consider this order block valid, I would look at how big the stop loss is. If the stop loss is fairly small, then I'll set the limit and enter blindly. And if the stop loss is big, then I would wait for lower time frame confirmation at that order block. So to answer your question, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I understood. Why I'm asking you that question is if you can open US 30 on the weekly time frame. You know, I can see some. That's why I was confused about. That's why I asked you the question on the weekly time frame. Yeah,
it's a perfectly valid question. So on the weekly time frame, would you be considering this as the last bearish candle before this up move?
Yeah, exactly.
This is, I mean, it's in a discounted area, but it's not. I wouldn't call this a clean order block just because there's loads of wicks inside of that area. Number one. Number two, it doesn't have that engulfing candle, so this definitely wouldn't be for me personally a valid order block, not on this time frame at least. Maybe if you went onto like the daily, the 2 day, the 3 day, and you just scroll through them. So say for example right now on the 3 day time frame, if I zoom out again, this is now valid. So on the 3 day time frame, this is valid because we have that engulfing candle and then the market breaks this structure. So you could consider this valid, but in terms of our higher time frame weekly area, this like big weekly area here, I wouldn't consider this valid just because it doesn't have an engulfing candle and it has loads of wicks around it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, good. Yeah, okay, understood.
No problem.
Last question. Sorry to disturb.
No. Go for it.
Although you have, although it was clear on GBP NZD, I had on my watch list, but my analysis was based on weekly. So I don't know if that makes sense.
So okay, I'm looking at it on the weekly time frame. It looks as though we have this weekly order block. This weekly order block is valid because it did break structure. So this is the low that I broke below. So this was the low that I broke below. It took the liquidity below that low, and also you can see that we have an engulfing candle. What time frame do I have it marked out on?
My entry I based on 1 hour, but it's not clear.
Let's take a look at the 1 hour. So you're looking at, if you were looking to enter on the 1 hour, then you'd probably be looking at this, right? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
So this right here is a perfectly valid trade. For me, what I'm going to be looking to do is, I think I had a similar thing. So if I look onto weekly watch list, I had a similar thing on, let me just scroll through. Yeah, I said I will personally be waiting for lower time frame confirmation, but if you wanted, you could have entered from this 4 hour supply, but this was another trade. So I had this 30-minute area. So do you see this 30-minute order block? Nice area of supply. If you wanted, you could have just set your limit and entered blindly from here. But what I said was I'm just instead going to wait for the market to give me lower time frame confirmation inside of this larger 4 hour area. So that's a choice you can make. If you want, you can enter blindly and set your limit here, or you can just play it safe and just set an alert just below that area right here. And then you can just wait for the market to give you lower time frame confirmation inside of that bigger area on the higher time frames. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
So that's just a choice you can make. Is that all?
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
No problem. I hope that helped. Moving on now to, do we have any more hands up? Yes, we do. We have a hand up from YP Traders and Hamid. So YP Traders, I'm going to start with you.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Oh my God, good evening. I'm new here actually from today, and recently I watched your videos. I'm also a smart money concept trader. And
amazing stuff.
Yeah, I want to thank you about your perfectly explained videos. I learned some new stuff.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I don't have questions about the setups. They are perfectly explained. I just want to ask you, do you use correlations and do you trade swap zones?
Yep. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for your kind word. Kind words. It means a lot. In terms of correlation or not, I do have a video about this. It didn't do fairly well, so you probably haven't seen it. It's 9 minutes long, and I go through how to use DXY correlation. So I do use correlation when it's very clear. I don't enter unless it's very clear with correlating trades. In terms of swap zones are very similar to, again, breaker blocks and mitigation blocks. So I don't use swap zones, but I know that it does make logical sense. So I definitely wouldn't knock it if you do, if you would use swap zones, because they do make sense. But personally, I don't. I like the strategy right now. Like to keep it simple as well, because the win rate is fairly low, but our RR means that we can come out profitable. So I like the strategy for the time being. We're going to keep it how it is, but swap zones, if you do use them, make complete sense. So I definitely wouldn't knock it.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm not using it. I used it in the past, but it's not my thing. I just keep simple, break of structure and stuff, and
yeah, same, exactly, same as me. I like to keep it simple too. But yeah, is that all? If it is,
yep.
No problem. Glad I could
Thank
help.
you.
And again, thank you for your kind words.
No
It means a
problem.
lot. All right. Moving on now to Hamid.
Hello, brother. How are you?
I'm great, brother. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. Could you take a look at Euro AUD?
Of course. So Euro
for our time frame.
For our time frame. Straight away, what I noticed is that there is a nice area of 4-hour demand. It did also
exactly.
tap.
That's the area I have marked out.
Yep, that does look very nice. And Euro AUD, I think, tapped a weekly area. If not, I don't know why I have this marked out. But let me just get rid of this old analysis in a second. So the 4-hour area you have marked out is right here. I'd probably play it safe and go on to a higher time frame, maybe 10-hour and maybe 12-hour. Yep, 12-hour. And I'd look for lower time frame confirmation inside of this 12-hour. Because if you look at the 4-hour, you have two candles that are both going downwards right next to each other. So what could very easily happen is the market could come downwards, but react to the top of that area and not tap you in. So your area would have been down here, but the market could very easily react to this and then push upwards. So the way I would look at this trade is I would play it safe, look at the 12-hour, set an alert, which is what I'm going to do right now. So set an alert right at this price. And then you'd wait for the market to come back into your area. Once it does, you'd look for lower time frame confirmation.
And another question, when you're looking for lower time frame confirmations, what are the most things that you look for, like the most criteria that you look for on lower time frame confirmation?
The thing that happens most often when I'm looking at lower time frame confirmation is that we get order blocks within order blocks. So the market would tap into my area, give me maybe a little area of consolidation and start to push upwards. Then we'd have like a nice impulsive move that would leave behind an order block. And then that's where I'd get my entry. This is the most common thing that happens. Another thing that happens a lot of the time is Wyckoff schematics. Wyckoff schematics are the better thing, the thing that I prefer, but they don't happen as often as in life. Like the best things barely happen. But the Wyckoff schematic will just look like the market starting to push down. It would slow down as it comes close. So we'd start to see pushes to the upside. Then we'd have the market tap. We'd have the market give a nice break of structure, leave behind an order block, where then you'd get your entry. So Wyckoff schematics and order block within order blocks within order blocks. Both are perfectly valid.
Thanks a lot. And could you take a look for me at the order block below the order block?
So this one, are you talking about this one right here?
No, not this, the other one above. Right at the engulfing candle. Yeah. Would you say that? No, not this one. Below where
this
the
one?
market starts. Yeah.
This one isn't valid. For me, I wouldn't consider this one valid. Reason for that being just these wicks. So do you see all of these wicks inside of that area? It's just a bit, it's not very clean. This is why I look for engulfing candles, because when you get an engulfing candle, you have your order block form and then the market just straight away goes away from that order block. It doesn't like waffle inside of that area or anything like that. It just forms and then goes away. This right here, you can see
because I
that.
had that marked out, but it didn't tap in by peep or something yet.
Yeah, it looks like it would have come very, very close. I did also have this marked out, and this is perfectly valid. We have our engulfing candle and the market is broken structure. So this, if this doesn't play out, then the next area I'd look at is this. This is very nice. But in terms of this one, it looks a bit like the market has consolidated too much inside of the area and wicked into the area too much for me, at least personally.
Yeah, and have you sent AUDJPY in the watch list, or can you take a look at?
I haven't. I can take a look for you right now. So AUDJPY, yeah, 4 hour.
Yeah.
Go to the 4 hour time frame. Oh yeah, it looks like we are already on the 4 hour. The market tapped this 4 hour area. It looks like I over refined and I wasn't able to get an entry as a result of that. But the market tapped this 4 hour area. It looks like it gave like a nice whack off distribution schematic and has been selling off ever since. In terms of right now, it looks as though price may be inside of this. No, but it looks like it broke below that area, so that wouldn't be considered valid anymore, as you can see. In terms of entries lower, I don't see anything at the moment for entries lower on AUDJPY. You could say something all the way down here. So this to this being valid, because that is very valid. We have our engulfing candle and it's consolidated. So we have our price cycle involved as well. But right now, I don't see AUDJPY inside of any sort of order block, apart from this one, but it's just broken below that one. So I wouldn't be looking at AUDJPY.
Yes, thank you, brother. And thanks for leading the community. Help us out a lot. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey,
Glad I could help,
Mahad,
brother.
real quick, while you're on the identifying the order blocks, what's the lowest time frame before you go to low time frame confirmations? Does that make sense?
Yep, it makes complete sense to me. Just for the others, in case it doesn't. So the question is, so a lot of the time you guys will talk, I'll say lower time frame confirmation. What is the highest time frame? So either the highest time frame for lower time frame confirmation or the lowest time frame that isn't lower time frame confirmation. That I probably like messed you up even more.
Right. Yeah.
But I'll just go through it again. I'll just go through it, and then if you don't get it, let me know. So a lot of the time, if I'm on the daily, for example, and I go into the 4 hour, I wouldn't consider that lower time frame confirmation. Say, for example, I have this area marked out and the market taps. I would start to look at lower time frame confirmation at about the 1 hour. And then 45 minutes, 30 minutes where I'm 100% in lower time frame confirmed entry level or area. But the highest time frame, so to answer Shell's question, it'd probably be about the 1 hour. The 1 hour is like the threshold for me where I go from higher time frame to lower time frame. Anything below 1 hour, I'm starting to look at lower time frame confirmed entries. Does that make sense, Shell?
Yes, sir.
All right, no problem. Moving on now to
Mahad, quick one. While you are still on EJ, can you quickly like give a brief explanation on why that 4 hour order block didn't hold? Because the structure was perfect. I mean, there was break of structure. Sorry, on the daily time frame.
Yep, daily time frame. So you're looking at this one.
Yeah, that other block. There was break of structure and there was pretty much a huge impulse after the other block. So what do you think was the reason why it didn't hold?
Most likely the reason for that is because the market was moving because of news. This is why I don't like trading news. So a lot of the time what will happen is the market will move very impulsively and will just stop respecting technicals and will only respect fundamentals. So what will happen is you have the market impulse very, very quickly. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. But as I was saying, what will happen is, so the main reason this daily error probably didn't play out is because we had that variant news. Remember, the Omicron variant came out, which is apparently the most deadly variant that has ever come out with COVID. So what's most likely been the cause of the market not respecting this is the news. So the market was moving with so much volatility and so much volume and momentum that the market just smashed straight through and didn't respect that area. Now what will most likely happen is the market will start to push upwards after having just taken the low of that order block. So that's why that order block most likely didn't play out. But in terms of our technical analysis, this order block is perfect. It had our engulfing candle after it. It broke countless structure here, here, and here. In fact, even broke above this high as well. So it's broken above all structure. It was perfect. It's just that we didn't have the news that messed that order block up. However, if we look at the 3-day, and I noticed this while I was breaking down AUDJPY just a second ago, you'll see that, oh no, not the 3-day, I think it might have been the 4-day. Yep, on the 4-day time frame, you'll notice we have this 4-day time frame order block. Does everyone see that? It may reverse from here, and that's hopefully what we're going to be expecting now. We had that engulfing candle just about, and it broke structure above this high. So this 4-day time frame is the next time frame that I'd look at after that daily time frame order block didn't play out. So I'm hoping from here that the market will start to push upwards all the way and take out areas up top here, and then perhaps even reach areas all the way up here. So that's what I'm looking at on AUDJPY. Does that make sense?
Yeah, could you quickly check the 15 minutes?
Yep, 15-minute time frame. Yep.
What do you think of what do you think of that other block right there?
15-minute, I don't see any 15-minute order blocks at the moment. I saw there would have been this, however, that's been tapped and the market has pushed upwards from there. But I don't see anything apart from that.
No, I'm talking in terms of a sell.
So you're looking at a sell.
Yeah.
I also don't see any valid sell order blocks. This isn't valid because we don't have our engulfing candle, and if we do, the market comes backwards and taps it, so that's out of the question. This isn't valid because the market comes backwards, so this would have been a wick on another time frame, and this isn't valid because this just isn't clean. I don't like this. Maybe if I go into the 30 minutes a little better, maybe 35-minute.
What about the imbalance, Mahad?
On the 15-minute, in terms of imbalance, I don't really see any imbalance on the 15-minute. I see imbalance all the way up here. There's imbalance all the way up here, 100%. And also reason for the market to push upwards in the form of this Asia high. So the market was moving with so much momentum, it didn't take out our Asia high and low. It did take out the low, however, it didn't take out the high. So that can be, so the market will most likely push upwards to take that Asia high out. And also, again, this Asia high hasn't been taken out, and this one hasn't been taken out. So there is a lot of incentive for the market to push upwards. But in terms of sell side setups, I don't see anything on AUDJPY, at least on the lower time frames. Does that help?
Yeah, that's clear enough. Thank you very much.
No problem. Glad I could help. How many hands do? Okay, the last hand up is from Tom. I've answered all of the others. So Tom, what's your question?
Mahad, how are you?
I'm great, brother. How about you?
I'm okay. So I was looking at Eurocard and I wanted to get your opinion about it.
Yep. Eurocard, what time frame should I start from?
Weekly.
Weekly time frame. Okay. On the weekly time frame, yeah. Ooh, this is nice. I like this a lot. Wow. This is very, very nice. So what we've had is this weekly area be tapped into. So I was looking at this, not knowing that there were two other lovely weekly areas here. But as you can see, the market has tapped this weekly area. It has been accumulating for a while. So I have my whole Wyckoff accumulation marked out, as you can see. And let me just get rid of these little markings that I have. But we've had an aggressive push. So I would call this my spring now. And call, I'd probably have to edit this a little later, but Eurocad does look very interesting now. If I go into the 10-hour, 12-hour.
5 hour, there's a 5 hour, yeah, there's a no be there.
Yep, so on the 12-hour, this looks very nice. I'll look at the 12-hour, 5-hour too now. So on the 5-hour, yep, so were you looking at that very last candle right here?
Yeah.
So that's perfectly valid as well. However, again, similarly to, I'm so sorry, I forgot the name, but someone else had a question. Why should you put the limit here or here? The reason you should consider at least set your alert here and then start looking for lower time frame confirmation is a lot of the time what can happen is the market taps here and then starts to push upwards and doesn't go all the way deep inside and come here. So I would probably be looking at the 12-hour area. I like the 12-hour area a little bit more because it's consolidated. As you can see, we have 4 candles right next to each other and it's broken structure. So that is very nice on EuroCAD. In fact, I'll send this out to the group chat. So a buy from this area, looking for lower time frame confirmation, taking it higher all the way. And in terms of take profits, there aren't clear take profits, but you could easily target these major swing highs all the way here. So that's what I'd be looking at on EuroCAD. But it's a very nice spot. I'll give you that. Thank you for that. Is that all?
Okay. Yeah, that's all.
No problem. I hope that helped. We have now taken all questions. We have 2 hands up from YP Traders and Mariam Abdullah. So I'm going to assume that since I've already taken you guys' questions, that you guys don't have more questions. If you do, just unmute and I will take your question. But if you don't, please put your hand down. But that's it, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed. No, in fact, it looks like Quebec has just put his hand up. So let's take Quebec's question.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, please. This is just a I don't know. This is kind of like a request for, I don't know. I'm very sure this will help some other people. I would like you to make I don't know, maybe some videos about some psychological video, because sometimes some of us do have a perfect setup, and at the end of the day, you see, we like, I don't know, we tend to miss out on them, or maybe we close some of those trades kind of like earlier, and you see the kind of like runs like to like our normal TP that we preset before, but we end up like taking profit too early. So I believe this is a kind of like psychological aspect of it. So kind of making a request on that.
That makes complete sense. So this is similar to Shell. So Shell had an entry. He was selling, I think, Kiwi dollar, but he held his trade even though it was in drawdown. In terms of psychological issues with trading, 1 second. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant, so I'm just going to mute everyone. But in terms of the psychology aspect of trading, it's very hard to teach. I haven't made a video on it because of that. It's very, very hard to teach. Psychological training just comes with experience. As you trade more, you will just learn to take profits at take profit and close your trade at stop loss. It's very, very hard to, once you're like, you can't learn psychology. It's like learning experience. You can't learn experience. Experience just comes with time. As you become more experienced, you become more experienced. As you spend more time on the charts and enter more trades, you become less aware of these outside factors that would affect your trading, and your psychological aspect of your trading will disappear. It's just something that comes with time. At least for me personally, I found that it comes with time, and it's just something that you need to give time to. And when you give it time, your trading will play out. So it's not something that I can really teach. It's just, I mean, I can tell you when your trade hits stop loss, close it. When your trade hits take profit, close it. Don't close your trade when it's in profit and not in take profit. But you're not going to listen to me, because that's the whole thing with psychological trading. So don't think of it as something you can learn. It's not something you can learn. Don't put time into learning it, because that will stress you out even more, and that will cause even more psychological. You will start getting your emotions will affect your trading even more. So don't think of it as something you can learn. Just think of it as something that comes with time. Put enough time into the trading and it won't affect you too much. So that's my rant over on psychology. I hope that's helped. It's not something that I can really teach you guys, unfortunately. If I could, I would. But perhaps a section in the group chat that would be helpful with that is the motivation section. So we do have a section called motivation right here, where we have, quotes and stuff like that. And sometimes people send through videos So this is a video, a little reminder that patience always pays. This week wasn't the easiest, but we'll definitely bounce back. Here's another video from ICT, stuff like that. But I
Hey,
can't.
Mahad, if I may,
Yep,
on that note, the Bible says that wisdom comes from knowledge, right? So
Yep.
knowledge is the beginning of wisdom. Wisdom comes after the fact of applying the knowledge. So the more you apply the knowledge, wisdom will come. That's the psychological part.
That's
wisdom beats psychology every time, but you have to apply the knowledge enough times in order for the wisdom to grow roots, if that makes sense.
That's very interesting. Wisdom happens after you've applied knowledge. That's very interesting. That's why you find all of the wisest people are your grandpas and grandmoms, because they're all old and have experience. It's exactly what I've been telling you guys. You have to have experience, and then the wisdom will come to you, where you don't trade based on emotions. That right there is amazing from the Bible. I mean, I don't want to say anything too blasphemous, but that is amazing. I do like that a lot. What do you call it? That there. So I'm gonna say that again. Or Shell, if you could say that for us one more time.
Sure. So I believe it's in Proverbs. It says that knowledge is the beginning of wisdom. I may be
Knowledge
paraphrasing
is the
quite a bit.
beginning of wisdom. That's so interesting.
Yeah, knowledge is the beginning of wisdom. So in order to gain the wisdom is what's going to combat the psychological, the FOMO, the I should get out now, or maybe I should hold whatever. That comes with wisdom. But the wisdom doesn't come until you apply the knowledge, which is what Mahad's teaching us, is the knowledge of how to trade the market. And then the wisdom comes after the fact. So it's just really a matter of patience.
Exactly. You're doing all the right things. You're here, you're getting the knowledge, and then the wisdom is just you applying that knowledge, actually taking the trades. Because knowledge without application is useless. If you sit here and absorb all the knowledge, but you aren't actually taking the trades, it doesn't necessarily have to be on a real account. At least take the trades on a demo account, because then you are applying the knowledge. Constant application of knowledge is what causes wisdom. And I love that quote. So I'm probably going to make a quote about that on Instagram or something like that. Knowledge is what comes before wisdom. Wisdom happens after and as a result of a lot of experience. So that's my rant on psychology over. Just put in enough time, put in enough effort, and you will get what you want, and you would stop trading emotionally. It's not something you can teach. It's just something that comes with time and experience. Does that help? Quebec. I hope that helps, Quebec.
Sure, it does. Thank you very much.
No problem. I hope that helped. We have one more hand up from Mohammed in Faham. So Mohammed in Faham, we'll give you permission to unmute. Yep.
Lovely. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Amazing. Right. This is not a question, but I just want a second opinion on the trade idea I just dropped on GJ.
Yep.
It should be on trade ideas.
Okay, yeah. Let's take a look. So trade ideas on GJ. Let me scroll all the way to the bottom. So you're looking at
not that one, the one above.
Okay, yeah. GJ, you're looking at shorting GJ, and you are on the 10-minute time frame from a redistribution schematic. Let's take a look. So GBP, JPY, and you're looking at the 10-minute time frame. Let me take a look at that again. So you're looking at shorting, I think, from here.
Yeah, that's right.
Straight away, I have my Asian session thing telling me that I haven't had that high be taken. I remember we need that Asian high and that Asian low to be taken. So I would probably want for the market to push upwards. Let me just refresh this page, starting to lag a little bit. But I'd want for, let me go back to GBJPY, 10-minute. I'd want for that Asian high to be taken out before I look to short this market again. And also, if we just look at our daily time frame, GJ is severely oversold at the moment. So you probably don't want to sell this close to price because it's so oversold. I'd look for a nice retracement, a push upwards to areas up here where it can take all of those Asian highs on the 10-minute, and then we can start looking to short. But in terms of your analysis on the lower time frames, if we don't look at this, it does look very nice. We have a nice 10-minute area. It's valid. It's broken this low. So I do like it because of that. But the only thing that could mess that up is the fact that we haven't taken our Asian high just yet. However, a lot of the time the market will ignore the Asian highs and the Asian lows. So it's not, don't consider your setup useless. It does look good, and there's a high chance that it could play out. And if we look back, you'll see that this Asian high hasn't been taken, and that's so far away from current price. So if we look here, you see this Asian high hasn't been taken, this Asian high hasn't been taken, this one has, but these two haven't. And they formed before that major push all the way to the downside. So don't give up on your setup. The setup does look good. So I'd say keep it in your watch list. Maybe just wait for lower time frame confirmation, just in case the market wants to take out that Asia high. But it does look very, very nice on GJ. And in terms of your take profits, you'd probably look to target that same area of equal lows all the way down here. So that would be a very high RR trade if that ends up playing out all the way. But yeah, in terms of your analysis, I do like it. It's just that Asia high that could ruin the setup.
Okay, yeah, that's fine, bro. Appreciate that.
No problem. I hope that helped. Is that all?
Yeah, that's all. That's all.
All right, moving on to, I think that's it now.
I can also add a if there is nobody else. Could you please look at USDCHF?
Yep, I've already done that. I'll do it again. Why not? USDCHF.
If it's already done, I would then have a look. I was just looking at the daily and now 12 hours. We have,
So these are two areas you have marked out. I've gone through that if you have these two areas marked out. So what I've said is I'd love for the market to sell off from areas here to an area here where then I'd look to hold buyers all the way up here. If this doesn't play out, then I would look to buy from areas here. But I really do like this area because it did take liquidity, as you can see. Excuse me, we had this low form, then the market take out that low, the order block form, and therefore it'd be a very, very high probability order block, a good order block. So I'm hoping from that order block, the market will push all the way upwards, but there's no clear take profits at the moment. But that's what I'm looking at on USDCHF. And in fact, take profits, I'd look at areas here as a set of equal highs. So that's what I'm looking at on USDCHF.
Okay. Do you consider that it might take the equal high at the top before pushing down? No, where you have the order block, marked up there. Yeah.
So this right here, I was looking at this and I did consider that. If you draw in that high, it looks as though liquidity has been taken to me. It's not close enough for me to call it equal highs. If we are like 1 or 2 pips off, then I would consider it equal highs. But if I go into like the 1 hour, it's a good wick. Like you can see that wick. It's probably about 5 pips. Yeah, something like that, 5-6 pips. But if it's like 1 or 2 pips off, then I'll just say it's equal highs and it's like the same thing. But even if you do consider those equal highs, what you could say is the market is going to push upwards, push downwards to either this area or this area. So, and then come and take out those equal highs. And then this would hit stop loss, but you'd still make your money on this one trade because it has a high RR. So it doesn't really matter. Either way the market goes, we should be looking to come out profitable because of our risk reward, which is why I love this strategy so much. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at on USDCHF. I did fully break it down before and it was recorded, so you will be able to watch it in the recording when I post it in the group chat.
Okay,
does that help?
Yeah, thanks.
No problem. I'm gonna end it here, guys. We've been here for a good while.
Sorry, Mahad, I forgot one question. Can you please check Euro NZD on daily time frame? I can see supply, and on the 15 minutes I can see a trend line liquidity formed. Or
I've sent this to the group chat. So if I show you on the watch list for the week, this was the first setup that I sent. So you can see I think the 18-hour area marked out. So if I go onto the 18-hour here, I'm looking at I'm looking at a different setup. So thank you for showing me this. I was looking at GBP NZD, not Euro NZD. But on Euro NZD, this looks nice. So daily area. Let me look at the 15-minute. Looks as though the
can I add something?
Some Wyckoff. I don't know.
Give me 1 second. Let me finish this. But it looks as though we could have the beginning of a Wyckoff schematic here. Yep, this does look very interesting. In fact, this does look very interesting indeed. we've had a higher time frame daily area that the market is tapped, the market is pushed below, broken all structures to the downside. And we've just had an accumulation here where there would have been last point of support entries pushed upwards, come to here, and now it's looking at this. Doesn't look nice. In fact, I'm going to send this to the group chat. Thanks for letting me know. This is very, very nice. I would of course wait for lower time from confirmation for this, just because our Wyckoff is not valid yet. So I would want for the market to first break structure below at a minimum these lows before I consider the Wyckoff schematic valid. So I would want for the market to break below this low. Once it does, I can start to look for sells in this market. But it is a very, very nice trade. I'll give you that. And thanks for the spot, Kamal.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Moving on back to, who was it? I think it was, who was just, Kelechi.
Yeah, I wanted to add something to this. So I've been following this pair with GDP and ZD, so they kind of correlate, so I was just wondering if it makes sense to take both of them at the same time or just choose one with higher probability.
I mean, that's completely preference. That's what you'd like to do in this market. GBP/NZD and Euro/NZD do 100% correlate. So the GBP and the Euro correlate. So what you'll notice is Euro/USD and GBP/USD correlate. Euro/NZD and GBP/NZD correlate. So all of the Euro X GBP/Y pairs will always correlate. Because the GP and the Euro are always going to correlate. So it's your choice. If you want to enter both, you can make more money because you're entering two trades and therefore make more money. Or you can enter one and then risk a little bit more with the higher probability one. I'll send out both and I'll specify which I think is the higher probability setup, but you can make that choice. That's a personal choice.
Okay.
But there's no right or wrong answer. You can take both or you can enter one, whichever you'd like.
Good, thanks.
No problem. I'm going to end it here, guys. We've been here for a good hour and 50 minutes, a good call. We've been here for a good nearly 2 hours now. So I am going to wrap it up now, guys. Thank you all for staying this long. How many people do we have here? We have a good 85 people here. So thank you for staying this long. You've all been absolutely amazing. A nice message to end it off would be very much appreciated. Hayes says, amazing session. Thank you very much for staying, Hayes. And thank you for your amazing feedback. But legend. Yeah, thank you. Legend, yeah, a big show, legend. Thank you.
Don't forget to wash your hands, folks.
Yeah. You don't want to be dying of Omnicore or whatever.
Yeah, don't even get me started.
Yeah.
But all right, take care, guys. God bless. Thanks, Mahan.
Yeah, thank you, Shell. I'll see you next time. But yeah, that's all for today, guys. I hope you guys benefited. I will wrap it up here. This was recorded, by the way. I mean, you guys made it to the end. But if you joined a little late and you are worried about not having got on the end, and don't worry, I'm just mute that person beeping. But if you did join late, don't worry, we got that full call in. I will be posting that full call a bit later. But thank you all, guys. I will now wrap it up. Thank you for staying, and I'll see you all next Sunday. Bye-bye. Let me end this. If it wants to end, it's done the same thing last week as well.